What's up? Brandon Lilly here in the cave at the Soren Complex. I'm here with Pop Soren, and we got a lot to talk about. We're pretty excited about this deadlift challenge that we've had going on. But first, how you been, man?
I've been doing all right. Starting to come back slowly from my accident and getting some feeling back in my hands. And every time I watch a video turned in of a heavy lockout, I get excited all over again, making me want to get back in the fray.
Yeah, I think one of the things that people a lot of times misunderstand is, you know, you can look well, you can somewhat feel well, but you can still not feel yourself. I know that firsthand, you know, through the surgeries that I've had, the ongoing, you know, up and down of it can really take a toll on you. But mentally versus physically, how are you feeling versus where you were just a few years ago? How, are you getting it all back, or are you just slowly tiptoeing forward?
It's a lot slower process than I thought it was. The physical end of it, if you're pretty well feeling beat up every day when you wake up, it's hard to get charged up about going back and, you know, exploring new vistas and doing new things. It's been real hard on me. I miss the strength that I had at one time, whatever that was, but I missed a challenge to be able to be feeling on top and really going after something. It's a regrouping time for me.
So, you know, much like when you're younger and you're trying to climb these levels of success or levels of strength, where do you find yourself now? Because one, you can't, as we age, we aren't able to do the things that we once were able to do, but we also still have that fight and that fire within us to be that person. Are you finding a difficult transition to maybe getting back to a level that you can accept, or is it just getting back to training at all?
No, it's somewhat to the level to expect. I think I look at things differently today. I think the passion and energy never goes away.
Right.
It just has to be redirected. And during that time that it's being redirected, it's difficult. It's evolution is pain. It is. And to see my grandson lift his weights, it's like me living through him again. You know, you can pass these good, positive things on to others. If your life is better, share it with others at a better level than you did before. It's not that passion, that energy, that intensity doesn't go away, but you have to look at what's happening today. Do I have to have passion and energy towards my people that are doing great things for Soren X?
Do you feel like, you know, I get this question a lot in regards to my lifting. You know, are you done? What else do you have to prove? And I think for me, the answer lies in that I'm very much accomplished things that I never expected to. I achieved more than I think I was expected to by others. But at this point now, it doesn't mean that I'm done. Even though it looks much different in the way that I look physically, but also the way that I think, but also my training is adapted. How do you answer that question? Because you look around and you're able to live a life of, you know, that you've really built for yourself. You've got the company in a great place. You like to hunt. You're able to do those things. So what is it about this connection to the barbell that keeps bringing you back and keeps challenging you?
It was always like your first love. You always think back to that. It's a comforting feeling. It's something that gives you, it grounds you. It gives you a feeling. We didn't lift the most weight in the world at any particular lift, but we had a lot of satisfaction in doing it. We met a lot of people. We accomplished things to set the stage to build on, to build the company on, to build friends, acquaintances, to have the trust of people that through the years keep coming back and saying, yeah, we believe in you, and you have the passion that we want to have in our equipment, in our situation.
So we know that you're Pops and you're known for your grip. Is that what facilitated this deadlift challenge? Was your appreciation and love of the grip, or was it just the totality of the movement? I mean, we've seen a lot of these people turn in lifts that, you know, across the board, you're looking down this list right here. We've got some pretty incredible numbers, but the 1331, tell me about that day and tell me about what led up to that. When did you first fall in love with this movement and this challenge?
Well, a test to be validated has to be a novel task. And to test real basal strength the ability to apply force, it's a pretty hard test because a lot of technique comes into it, a lot of different things, a lot of equipment and gear, but simply a man and his body moving a weight. That's as simple as it gets to define what strength is. And I was always gifted with hand strength. I never really had a really good grip on what I had as a gift, but I did train it. I really did. Right. I didn't beat it to death, and I lasted quite a long time in the grip world.
Let's see your hand compared to mine. We'll kind of give this description. So we're almost a 1-to-1.
Everyone thinks I have a giant hand. It actually, if it was in a grip contest, it would be in the small class, 7 7/8. So having enormously long fingers would have helped in some grip movements, but I didn't have them, so I just went on with it. The 1331, I was a very active deadlifter always my whole life. My back was strong. I did a lot of accessory work for my back, a lot of heavy one-arm rows, a lot of heavy pull-downs. And one afternoon, my usual people showed up for their workout, and it was a deadlift night. And I just said, heck, we're going to load this thing up, and we're going to make it fair for everybody because everyone of a different height, you can't start the bar at 18 inches because a shorter guy is going to be at an advantage. So I said, most people have a fairly predictable ratio between their thigh and arm length and whatever. So let's start it at the same place right above your knee, and got all the guys together. It wasn't any special thing I trained for. It was just say, hey, let's see what we could do. And as we started, we figured out to add shims for shorter or taller people to get the bar in the right place. And we started easing on up. I didn't have no idea what I could do because my deadlift was about 715 in training back then. And my grip never was an issue, so I never worried about that. So I said, well, let me see what I could do. We started out and probably we went through the 5s and the 6s, and then people started falling by the wayside, 650, 700, and still it was it was easy. Yeah. So we made sure we had very accurate weights. At the time, the most accurate calibrated plates made by Ivanko at the time, and I had a brand new bar that I was scared to death. I knew it would work, but I was scared to death to bend it because I didn't have the money. Right. But I said, if I'm going to be able to apply that much force, I want to have the best bar that's not going to break or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we started loading up with the 25 kilo plates, and we took probably 110 pound jumps, or I did after about 700. Everyone else kind of settled down. So we kept going up, and we kept recording every little bit of it. And the last try, I put on all I thought I could physically move. Mm-hmm. My back strength was the thing that limited me. My hands, although they felt like ETs when I got done, I literally my whole body stretched. Sure. But that was the thing that limited me, my back strength. But the pull, when I did the 1331, it was actually the picture that a lot of people see. It was actually a higher lift if you look at the chalk on my legs. Mm-hmm. I was actually all the way up erect and then starting to come back down. Okay. So it was probably a 6-inch pull, and the bar probably bent 2 inches. So it was probably 8 inches of total travel if the bar was dead straight. It was exceedingly heavy. I know my hands did bother me afterwards. My shoulders felt like they were stretched to the max. I couldn't lift anymore, but I could have held more, I believe.
So do you think, because I got a few questions that rolled in about this, people asking, is this something that you suggest training for? Is this something that you suggest maybe implementing into your training for grip strength or lockout strength? And I kind of always preface with, anything can work if you believe in it and you apply it properly. Yeah. But I feel like this is kind of a standalone, and you reiterated that. But so having held that much weight in your hands, do you think that level of deadlift will ever be accomplished by a human being? And if so, do you think that's nearing the threshold of what is possible?
I thought about it a lot. I'd been at most of the national powerlifting meets, and watched several of the greatest deadlifters in the world at that time, it wasn't for lack of back strength. The bar just dropped out of their hands.
Oh, the famous.
Yeah.
You see the guys. They said, well, no matter if you drop a deadlift, no matter what, don't look at your hands. And every single time people go, they look straight down at their hands. So I agree with you. And I've watched, and again, some of the bars have been modified and whatnot, but you're seeing these guys like a Brian Shaw and a Jerry Pritchett and a Eddie Hall. These guys that are just routinely and
great ones,
and they're pulling 1,000 pounds. I won't say week in and week out, but it seems that way. There's a significance in that. The 1,100 seems as though it was a threshold. Again, like every other lift that's ever been done, this will never be broken. This is one for the ages, and it is until someone else breaks it. I mean, I wonder how high these guys are going to push it. I mean, they just keep getting bigger and stronger every year.
Yeah, I wanted to give back to see if something that I considered a good lift or a mark that was done carefully, it was weighed. What, as you say, the people today that are truly giants, and I respect every one of them, I wanted them to come forward and to see for themselves in a novel task what they could have done. Could they have done 1,500, 18? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know what information I had at the time, what feedback. I knew at the time I did it, the record partial deadlift with a wheelbarrow, I think Kazmaier did it, was like 11:55. That was the record for strongmen.
Right.
So I said, well, if he was at that level, those weights were very decent. So, to judge, I look at the list here, and I'm so excited to be able to give a gift of having people try something new. They might have been lifting 20 years and never tried to see how much their body could move.
I think that one of the things, I certainly became a proponent of it, and really at my own detriment, was you become so singularly focused, you become too prioritized. As a young lifter or an up-and-coming lifter, we would do anything and everything that we could to get better and stronger. And then you get into this area of, quote-unquote expertise or professionalism, and you think you have to just keep sharpening that spear only through that mechanism, the squat, bench, or deadlift. Yeah. And we became so specified to those things that had you approached me, I probably would have said, I'll do it for you. But in regular training, I think guys shy away from that because they don't think it benefits. But I think there is a benefit to being, to give some props to the Louis Simmons way of thinking. Be strong at everything, because if a guy challenges you on it, you don't want to lose.
It's a gut check. How did weightlifting in America start? In the beer halls, in people throwing down the gauntlet and say, okay, I can lift this chair up by the one rung. You do it.
Yeah.
It wasn't something, no, I can't do it because I'm getting ready for a contest,
right.
or let me train for 2 weeks. No, it's what you bring to the table today, what you got in your heart and your back and your hands, what you could really do. And I was so excited. I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
I was going to say, oh, I'm a bum. Guys did 500 pounds more than I thought was good. Well, when it comes out, then you have even more data to go by and say, gee, this was good, or this wasn't good, or this still stands as a high water mark, perhaps.
Right. So what is the biggest lift you've seen thus far?
I have looked at some. The guy's been kind of secretive with the lifts turned in.
Yeah.
I've seen some people step forward and go exactly by the rules, and I think it was, being a novel task, it was surprising what you can do.
Right.
And then I saw some other people that just got into the spirit, which I love, of lifting. They might have put on straps, which wasn't part of the rules, but they got out there and they tried. They wanted to see what that kind of load on their back would be.
Right.
It was, to me, just a real stimulus to me to want to start back training, not to doing these tremendous heavy lifts, but just the joy of doing it.
Sure. So how excited are you to give away that check?
Who likes to give away money? But it was worth it. It was worth it to me. And if it turned around one person's mind about what lifting really is about and strength is all about, it was worth every bit to me.
do you see? I mean, I've noticed that a lot of women have chimed in on this, and I was really, there was kind of the outcry in the day right after or something. What about us women? What about us women? And I think 5-10 years ago, I mean, even when I first got into lifting, I can remember maybe 3-4 women, maybe 5 at a powerlifting meet, and now they have separate days for the female lifters, and I think that is the most, I won't say excited, but maybe it is the most excited group of lifters today. They support each other. There's girls powerlifting pages. There's girls strongman pages. It just seems that the female lifters aren't so, I mean, I guess there's stuff like this everywhere, but there isn't that toxicity. I see more of a unity between the females, and I would like to see this, kind of catch fire. Different challenges, get people lifting, like you said, in new and different ways, and then encourage that community effort to support one another rather than, oh, that's my competition. This is fun. This is great stuff. Right. So I commend you for that. I mean, what is your impact, or what do you feel that the female impact is on the sport?
The second someone reminded me about, hey, how about the women? I was going like, oh, gosh, I was just thinking in numbers saying, well, the highest deadlift in the world is by a man, and if we're looking at the biggest number, most likely a man would do it. Right. But now it's branched in my mind to even at Summer Strong have a division for a youth division. Sure. In our deadlift fund we're going to have, and maybe women. I mean, as a group, instead of everyone just jumping on the bar, having fun.
I got to get my son, let him know that the gauntlet's going to be thrown.
That's right. I'll have Ezra ready.
Exactly. So, these women that have been involved, and we had Jen Wiederstrom up there with a nosebleed last year. I think Swornex is a really unique player in this field where we're not only encouraging strong women, but we're encouraging empowering women. You look at the ladies that an Ingrid Markham, a Jen Wiederstrom, those type of ladies that really personify what Swornex is about. They're dual threat. They're powerful in their communities, but they're also powerful on the platform and under a barbell. How much do you connect with that? I mean, you were so much more than just a lifter.
I think, as even many times I think about you, to be impressed and to understand what a big weight is, to watch you have done your lifting before. Mm-hmm. But you were largely a one-dimensional person. Right. You were an expert at one thing. Everyone looked up to you for that thing. They knew what they expected from you. But truly and honestly, I see people later on in their lives, Bill Kazmaier, so many people that have taken that gift and moved so far beyond it. Mm-hmm. You are living, I think, a better life in so many ways, and have so much more respect now than if you squatted 5 more pounds. Right. You were dedicated to that 100% at the time, but you were limited. I think the ladies getting excited at seeing what their body could really do, mm-hmm. that's amazing. I love it. The kids looking at that bar like they could eat it, because it matters to them to be strong. And not only to be strong in body, but to be strong in your heart. All these good positive things are coming from us all getting together and just having fun lifting weights. It's not an end-all, be-all. Yeah. If I didn't deadlift 500 pounds in my life, the world wouldn't stop. Mm-hmm. In my world wouldn't stop, but it sure added to me. But I moved on.
So as far as this lift goes, this competition, what were you looking for when you were observing a lift? Or we're going to look at a few here in a moment. What are we looking at here together so that I can break this down to verify, okay, this lift meets all the criteria? What are you looking for?
Well, first of all, I wanted to do something that was fair and relatively simple. Mm-hmm. And if there's so many people in so many different areas going to do a similar lift, I wanted to have things like a rack that would be safe, mm-hmm. A standard Olympic bar that would be, they vary some, but it's more or less 45 pounds, and to try to really make it a simple task, but really watch for where the bar starts from, mm-hmm. the basic form they use. It's taken away all our crutches. It really is. Yeah. Because you can't use straps, you can't use a hook grip, you can't rest your hands on your legs, you can't do a sumo style. And these are things that do add to a contest level, but are really not totally a test of strength, a novel task of strength.
Right.
So the things I watched for was really the height the bar is set at, that their thumbs are showing so there's not a hook grip involved.
Right.
Their hands are not touching your leg. That's a huge thing. There's a lift called hand-on thigh lift, and it looks similar to a deadlift lockout, but you could probably do 1,800 pounds because of the way the bar locks itself down on your legs, and you actually just lean back, and the bar just kind of just moves a little bit. It's a similar thing, but we try to get it the rules where it was pretty fair for everyone.
So one of the biggest things that I've watched in some of these lifts, you see people that typically go more of a, for lack of a better term, just a straight leg, and they try to hinge the back and just hold on. And then I've seen some people who try to really straighten the back and kind of drive with the legs. What do you think is a superior approach?
I'm not telling you my secrets. Kidding me? I would say knowing how to hold things, which most people don't pay attention to, but knowing how to really hold on to something. And I would say the hinge, having a strong enough back to maintain your hinge is the key.
One of the things that I get a question about, and it kind of ties into this, a lot of times powerlifters are looking for grip training ideas. One of the best pieces of advice that I could give is it's not something that's going to accumulate very quickly. It takes time. I mean, I worked on the farm, you worked with heavy equipment, but I never said to powerlifters, don't do a lot of crushing repetition, do more static kind of holding. What do you feel about that?
I would agree to that. And really, grip training, it's like saying children shouldn't work out with weights because it's too much stress on their growth plate. What do you think them jumping off a tower or climbing up a tree, how much shock that's to their body? Anything done the right way is going to be generally positive. You said you're...
Well, I grew up working on a farm.
Okay. Now, to get back to that, in the deadlift, it's the absolute holding power.
Sure.
One rep.
Yep.
Now, doing repetitions with anything, as long as it's 80% or more, might make you stronger, but that's not what I found out really helped my personal deadlift and grip. I did for one entire year, and I didn't like it at all. I quit doing deadlifts with a regular bar. I used a 2-inch steel axle, weighed 75 pounds, and I did all my lifts with it, and it humbled me. It really did.
One of the things when I saw my deadlift accelerate was instead of doing block pulls, we would actually use a cambered bar, similar approach, the thicker bar, and we would have the plate set up, and we would actually stand on, I think it was 3.5-inch mats. So we were pretty much just below the knee by the time that we started. But you also had that little shimmy when you came off the ground, with the camber. And I noticed that my grip strength was never a problem after that, specifically, in the deadlift. So anybody that's out there that's listening to this, that's looking for, static holding, you need to train statically. I would follow that up with some repetition work, individual finger stuff. But I never really did a bunch of the gripping kind of stuff like that because I felt like it thickened the palm of my hand too much. And that caused a lot of there was a time there when my hand was so thick in the middle, it was almost awkward to shake another man's hand because it would just almost reject. So I stuck more to the static stuff and tried to really strengthen the fingers.
Well, it's a tough thing if you think about it in the squat perhaps and in the deadlift or even in the bench press. If you never have had in your hands heavier than you're trying to deadlift that day, are you making a mistake? I'd like to know that if I'm trying to deadlift 700, that I could hold 1,000.
Sure.
I like to have that in the box that I know I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. I think
in the bench press, the heaviest weight you ever have on your arms is the heaviest weight you try to bench press.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? No, I'd put another 20 kilos on and at least say, okay, my arms can support this. I know what it feels like. And then go to the weight I'm going to bench.
Yeah, I think that we've gotten away from that. It's starting to creep back in, but some of these overload principles, not even moving the weight, but just holding them. Yeah. I know Chad Wesley Smith was big about that in the squat. He would always do somewhere between, I think Now it's probably closer to 5, but at one point in time it was about 10% an overload.
Yep.
Walk it out, set up, brace as if you're going to squat, and then just hold for the length of a squat times 2. So if it takes 1.5 to 2 seconds to go down and up, we're going to hold it for 4 to 5 seconds just to really kind of show that you can hold that kind of weight. I would always do that on the bench press too. I think guys get really outside their wheelhouse. They try to go too heavy. If they're a 500-pound bencher, holding 700 pounds doesn't really have a lot of carryover. To me, 550 for a 500-pound bencher, safe and effective. And I think that's what you're going for, is the most bang for your buck. So now it's time to watch some videos. What do you say?
I'm excited.
All right, let's check some of these out. Well, first, let me just give a few shout-outs here. We're not going to be able to get through all these, but it's really, really nice to be able to see some females pop up here. And we're going to say Allie Gam 29102. I hope I'm not, or it might be Allie G Amber. I don't know. But we're just going by the usernames here. And then we got Krusty Krutz, or Cruddy Krutz. I see his name popping up everywhere on the Sornex stuff, on my stuff. And then we've also got a coaching staff here from the University of Virginia. Coach Potts, Coach Phyllis, and Coach Shue. All of them turning in, Coach Potts turned in 8:15. Coach Phyllis turned in a 7:05, and Coach Shue turned in a 6:75. So it's nice to see coaches that we affiliate with that are walking the walk,
I was thinking about that this morning, of the coaches that I've met in my life that really know what it's like when they tell an athlete to, dig in there and work hard and whatever. They've been there. They do that. They're active.
I think there's a bigger buy-in for the athlete too.
Sure.
That's one of the things that irks me. When you go to these places, guys are overwhelmingly intelligent, but I feel like there's a deeper investment from the players when they can look at their coach and they at least know, maybe not right now, right, but at some point in their history, they put in the work. They got skin in the game. And I think I at least tend to gravitate more to those guys because they understand.
I totally agree. I thought about 5 coaches in my mind that meet that criteria.
That's sure. Great. And then I want to give a special shout out. Connor _CC Fit. He turned in a triple of 765. And as we were watching this, he literally had everything that he could put on the bar. But one thing I noticed, he had a diabetic pump on his arm. And I think a lot of times in the diabetic community, they're told not to lift this heavy weight or to not do these things, or sometimes people feel limited because of that condition. I love seeing people that break the mold and they do more than the expectation. So I'm going to give you a lot of respect for that. Diabetes runs in my family, type 2 and type 1. So when I see that, it makes me proud, and I'm also going to share his story with my family. But let's get into it. We've got a few on here that break the 1,000-pound mark. Lots of 900s, lots of 800s. I don't know if I should start with the strongest or maybe finish there, but let's do this. Will Newton will be fit. Let's start there. All right. Take a look at this. This is just over 1,000 pounds. This is 1,004. Let's take a look at this and see what we got going on. All right. First thing I notice, good-looking kid, strong. What do you think about this starting position right here? Does this look pretty good to you?
It seems that, to me, he's leaning back a little far. It's almost like he's getting ready to drag the bar backwards. It looks like he has his arms down, which are real good and long. His head's in a good position. Shoulders are good. It looks like he can move a good bit of weight. It's hard to tell if, in fact, where the bar is in relation to his body, because he's not starting with his lower leg straight up and down. It looks pretty good though.
Yeah. And what I noticed, one thing that a lot of deadlifters one of the things that I guess I get the best reception to whenever you give this tip, notice the angle of his elbow. A lot of times the elbow is pointed away from the body, but he's actually got it turned in, which engages the lats. Yeah. When you're lifting maximum poundage, the lats are crucial, squat, bench, or deadlift. So let's see what he looks like here going through the motion. Good setup. Nice and
he has quite long arms. He's really built to deadlift. It's still hard to judge it by looking at it, because if you notice, the travel of the bar was about 2 inches.
So what do you say to somebody like that? Do you say, okay, congratulations, you maximized the movement relative to your body, or do you say maybe we need to do a little more range of motion there?
I think his starting position, if you compare to the other ones that might be coming up, was a little different.
Right.
He was leaning way back to start with, not kind of forward to enable him to hinge. It was more of a hand and thigh type lockout. He just kind of held on and just slid backwards.
I wonder
that's a hard one to judge right there, to be honest.
But he looked like he had power to spare right there, didn't he?
Sure did. He pulled that thing up like a man.
Let's watch it again. I mean, it was once he started moving it was done.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, I think you got a little more in you.
I think he has quite a bit in him.
All right. Let's go ahead and check out our lady here. Number 8. This is over at Breaking Bars.
Okay.
Big Elmer.
All right.
Coaching. Got to say something to Elmer. I mean, when I first heard about this guy, we come in contact with a lot of coaches, a lot of people that are starting facilities. I had no idea the cultural impact that this guy has created there. Breaking Bars, how many do they have here at Squattober? It was 20-something lifters.
Oh, gosh, it was
a massive,
wonderful group.
So, if you're out there and you're sitting on the fence of thinking, can I do this? Can I create something? Call Elmer down at Breaking Bars. That guy, apparently he has the layout for how to do this because his members are excited, they're invested, and they're always cheering for each other. I get tagged in Breaking Bars stuff every single day. So big props to Elmer, and then we got one of his girls here lifting.
Okay, what I see, the bar seems like it's very well set up. The body position looks real good to start. Shoulders down, arms are long. Especially the angle the picture was taken. It's easy to see all things that need to be attended to.
Right.
Now, I haven't seen the film yet, but what I'm seeing from the start, it's going to be an easy one to judge.
So if somebody's submitting in a video here in the next few days, would you suggest maybe doing a dimensional lift, maybe some of their warm-ups as well, just to show, tying it together to where you can see different angles?
I would have at least 2 people with cameras, one in the front, one as in her video, quartering to the side, and be able to compare that. You could see clearly the weights, you could see clearly the height of the bar, you could see the grip. It was to the letter done. I mean, that's how Elmer does things. I'm sure he called the rules. But I'm excited to see this one.
Let's see what we got here. So really like how she sets herself up. She's taking her time to get her mind right here. She's re-gripping. She's probably waiting on a command. Setting those shoulders. That's one of the things that I was talking about there. Setting the shoulders. She's coming up.
Oh, close.
So close. She got right to the top. I probably would have, in a powerlifting competition, that would have been a red light. She looked like she just had the hips a little bit behind the bar, needed to get those through.
Yeah.
I think you can have too much setup, right? Sometimes you can set up to the point where you kill the momentum of the lift. That looked a little bit like what it was there to me. If she had gone right off the bat, I think she'd have gotten it.
A lot of energy is expended addressing the bar. You got to get, if you want to stand around and get ready, just stand up straight and relax. But when you're ready to lift, go for it.
All right, here's another one. JP _ Johnny Rockstar. We're going to give him a little love here because of the name. All right, we got 945 pounds in the bar, secured with some bands.
I like what I'm seeing.
Yep, and he's got the plates under himself so he can elevate his stance. Looks like a good starting position for him for sure.
Yes.
Let's see what we got here. That's a lot of weight. He looks like he's very muscular. Doesn't look like a heavyweight guy at all, though. Oh, he pulled that easy.
That was nice. That was very nicely done.
That was about as technical a lift, in this kind of movement. That's what we're looking for. If you guys want a pure example of what we're trying to find, at JP _ Johnny Rockstar with 2 R's. That was an awesome lift, man. Congratulations. Let's do another 1,000. It's just easy to keep going back to these 1,000 pounds. This is 1,001. We've got Yoke and Stone. At Yoke in Stone, 1,001 pounds.
Okay.
Representing Army here. Got an Army shirt on.
Am I seeing some straps in the picture?
Yeah, this is a strapped lift. So look, we're trying to celebrate everybody that's involved in this and really pointing this out. Straps are not a part of the lift. Hook grip is not a part of this. But we do want to celebrate people that are getting involved. So this is a great one to look at here. Yoke In Stone. Looks like it's CrossFit. I can't tell the name. Let's see.
The height looks pretty good.
Yep, everything looks good. Taking a little time to get himself set. Nice. A little bit of a ramp there, but still.
A little bit. Knees seem like it's hard to tell with those dark pants if his knees were locked.
I see a little salt and pepper in that beard. It's good to see a guy with a little gray going on there with getting 1,000 pounds. Look, regardless, I mean, he moved 1,000 pounds. You got to feel pretty proud of that, no matter what the stipulations are. It's a pretty good day
for
him.
The rest of his life, he could say, "I know what 1,000 pounds feels like."
Isn't it something? I mean, it really is. Like whether it's an inch or you move a full range of squat or deadlift, he felt it.
Yep.
He felt every single pound of that. All right, let's do one more here. Let's do two more. We got Upstate Barbell Club, 1,055.
All right.
We're getting there. Let's see. Number 4. Well, here's 1,035. Sorry. This is Sahara Tim. All right, let's take a look at this. Making sure that we can see the plates as they're laid out for him.
Very, very good idea. I think I might have seen this one before and looked at, and I did it add up. It added up to the correct amount.
Yeah, this is a really great way to do it. If you could see, he's walking around the rack, so you can see the integrity of the weight, the integrity of the bar, where everything is set up. And this is another salt and pepper guy here. This is might be just a touch high, but golly, that was efficient.
Oh boy,
So Sahara Tim, let's see, at Sahara Tim, that was 1,035, just as easy as it could be.
And he doesn't look much more than 225.
I was thinking 220s, 230s, maybe. And what do you credit that to? I mean, a lot of guys think bulk equals strength. This is a pure example.
Well, it seemed like he had good mechanics.
Yeah, this is perfect leverage
hinge
for him.
He was really favorably built to deadlift. His arms are quite long.
Let's watch that again.
Yeah.
Just from the point of the pull, because there's no pomp and circumstance to it at all. He just walks up and pulls it.
But that move, see, it's hard to tell with those pants. That where the bar is in relation to his knee.
But that was absolutely perfect motion.
Oh yeah, he was very, very mechanically gifted.
All right, let's do one more here.
Speaking of which, how heavy were you when you pulled the 1331?
I weighed 238 when I did the 1331.
Yeah, so Bert just he asked how heavy Pops was when he pulled that. So 238 body weight, pulled 1331. That's pretty incredible, actually, when you start breaking it down. Let's go one more here. 1,085. That was the biggest that I saw on the list. 1055. Make sure. Number 15. All right. And this is Pro Ginger Strong. Again, another example. You can already see the bars.
That's a nasty load on there.
You can already see the bars starting to bend. Looks like he's got 4 or 5 red kilos on here, a couple hundreds and a 45.
Yow.
That just looks heavy.
Yeah.
So let's see what we got here.
Okay, let's watch him close and give him all the chance he could get.
Big guy.
Are we looking at straps?
Yeah, he's got some straps on here. So, again, this is negated because of the straps. Doesn't count towards the competition, but this is awesome to have this kind of submission. Might have been a little bit high off the rack, but unbelievable power right there.
But mechanics were good. I mean, everything looked good.
Yeah, I would challenge him to take those straps off and try that again
Absolutely.
Because every single thing about that lift looked exactly like I would be hoping my lift would look, or a lifter of mine would look. Let's do one more. Just let's go here. Dave C. Downey, 815.
All right.
I know what this one feels like from the floor, so I want to see what a guy does right here. Good-looking kid, young guy, excited, moving big weight. Looks like a good starting position from here.
Looks like one of the photo shows probably the perfect starting position from what I could see.
He's standing on a plate, which elevates him to the right level.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. No straps.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. That was.
Oh, yeah. That's textbook right
All
there.
right, so we're going to give him props. Dave C. Downey, Downey. If you want to look at what you're trying to do here in this competition, watch this kid, get out there, put some weight on the bar, give your best effort. I mean, it's free money, you know, and plus you got some bragging rights too. So that was as good as it gets right there. I think that's a perfect one to end on. So what do you say to somebody who's sitting on the fence as we wrap this up, thinks I can't do that or I shouldn't do that or maybe it'll take away from my training? What do you say?
I kind of chuckle to myself to think about that.
Yeah.
I think I was of a different mind in those days. I just loved to lift anything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a strong guy, do it.
Yeah.
You know, if you have that itch, scratch it.
Yeah, and the recovery on something like this is going to be – you're going to need a day or two to recover. But this is – you know, you're talking about a 4 to 6 inch range of motion with a ton of weight. It's high intensity, but not nearly any different than deadlifting off the floor.
At the end of this, we went straight to our deadlift workout. We did the rest of our stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just a hour in a workout day. It was no drum rolls from above. It was no lights flashing. It's what we wanted to do that day.
Yeah. Well, this is what creates the legendary mindset. So get out there, join us, be legendary, see if you can win some of Pop's money. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you here at Sornex. Have an awesome day.
Thanks.